Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Wealthy Mindset. It's yours truly, Money Making Mitch. And as usual guys, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research. So we saw that Europe has pretty much finalized a deal to drop the tariffs on Chinese EVs in such a way that they will have to come in at a certain price point. Now, NIO, being a premium car selling at a premium price, don't have to worry about that. However, companies like XPeng and the lower end car companies like BYD, etc., will have to bump their price up uh, and also show their books on their revenues, their auditing. NIO doesn't have to worry about that because it's listed internationally, and they already have auditors, independent auditors, view their earnings. So this policy is geared to help NIO a lot because, like I said, their cars will be coming in at a price point where they don't have to worry about lowering or increasing the price too much more than what it is being sold in China, greatly benefiting NIO. I know the stock keeps going down, and I've seen this game before. Allow me to remind you guys, I've seen this game before. They did it with SoFi. Remember that, guys, when I was telling you all about SoFi? Even when the company posted its first quarterly profit, its first quarterly revenue, and it showed profitability, the stock still didn't go up, and a lot of retail investors lost faith even at that point. Even though it became profitable, the rhetoric was, well, we don't think this is sustainable, and they kept the share price down. People panicked and sold. But then the quarter after that, they showed sustained profitability. But by that time, while the analysts were telling people at that time, don't buy, this is not sustainable, their buddies, the big hedge funds and pension funds, kept buying in. So at that time, when they skyrocketed the price up, then they told retail it's time to buy, and they're doing it again. Well, we just saw what happened with Europe, like I said, but Canada and China near deal to drop EV tariffs as Trump pushes allies away. As a potential reversal of a significant policy implemented just over a year ago, the Canadian government is reportedly in advanced talks with China to remove or significantly reduce the 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Allow me to say that again. Canada and China is in advanced talks to remove or significantly reduce the 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. I've always said it, minus speed bumps. Hold the line and you will become multi-millionaires. Pull your pants up. The reversal comes as Prime Minister Mark Carney looks to stabilize trade relations with Beijing while navigating an increasingly hostile trade war initiated by the Trump administration against, well, everyone. According to a new report from the Toronto Star, the Carney government is actively negotiating a resolution to the trade dispute that began when Canada lockstepped with the US to impose massive tariffs on Chinese EVs. At the time, Canada's move was seen as a way to protect its integrated auto industry with the US. But the geopolitical landscape has shifted violently in the last few months. They've seen that they don't have an ally in the orange puddy tat. After all, Greenland is learning the hard way as well. Since taking office, President Trump has used emergency powers to slap 25% tariffs on Canadian goods. You can't make that up. Breaking the USMCA free trade agreement. Yes, there's no such thing as laws when it comes to the orange puddy tat. In response, Canada announced its own 25% retaliatory tariffs on US-made EVs. With the US market becoming a protectionist walled garden and Trump hostile to Canadian trade, the economic logic for Canada to keep blocking Chinese investments is evaporating. China, for its part, retaliated against Canada's initial EV tariffs by targeting Canadian canola and pork, hitting Western Canadian farmers hard. As we previously reported, this created a massive internal political rift in Canada. While Ontario Premier Doug Ford is begging Carney to keep the EV tariffs to protect legacy auto manufacturing, Prairie premiers are demanding a deal to save their farmers. It looks like the farmers and potentially Canadian EV buyers might win this one. The new Canadian media report states that negotiators from Canada and China are getting close to a deal that would involve reducing or eliminating tariffs on Chinese EVs in exchange for China removing restrictions on Canadian canola and seafood. Excuse me, guys. The news of the progress in the negotiations, which have been ongoing for a few months, comes as Mark Carney, Canada's Prime Minister, is right now in China, Beijing, for an official trip. Rumors are that a deal might be announced during the trip in the next few days, following Europe's lead, yes, in a few days' time. Canada isn't the only one waking up to the reality that a full-blown trade war with China might not be the best strategy for electrification. I reported yesterday that the EU and China are close to a deal, and they made a deal to replace their own tariffs with a minimum price undertaking. Instead of a blanket tax that hurts consumers, Chinese automakers would agree to a price floor for their vehicles sold in Europe. This prevents dumping while still allowing competitive, affordable EVs to enter the market. It seems Canada is looking at a similar framework. If a deal is reached, it could open the floodgates for automakers like BYD, NIO to finally enter the Canadian markets with affordable models like the Seagull or the Dolphin or the Firefly or the Envoy L60, which are desperately needed to accelerate EV adoption in the country. This is what happens when you try to bully your allies. The Trump administration's strategy of waging a trade war against the entire world simultaneously is having the predictable effect of pushing everyone else closer together. Canada and Europe are realizing that if the US wants to isolate itself and protect legacy combustion engine profits, they don't have to go down with the ship. For Canadian consumers, this could be huge news. We've said it time and time again. Protectionist tariffs are a disaster for EV adoption. They artificially inflate prices, protect legacy automakers who drag their feet on electrification for decades, and slow down the transition to sustainable transport. Chinese EVs are the most competitive right now. If you're not competing with them, you won't be competitive on the global stage. If Canada dropped these tariffs, it will be a major win for the climate and for consumers who are tired of waiting for affordable electric options. It is ironic that Trump, who has been openly hostile to EVs, might accidentally be the catalyst for flooding Canada with affordable, high-quality Chinese electric cars by forcing Ottawa to pivot away from the US. So, that's why I've always said minor speed bumps. Policies change. The shorts used to always come and say, well, what about the tariffs? What about this? What about that? What about it, boy? Pull your pants up and be a man. I hope you guys found this video yet again to be informational, inspirational, and motivational. If so, guys, boop, boop, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. It takes a lot of time to do these videos and the editing. And if you haven't yet subscribed, you might want to think about doing so, because in this channel, we are waking up the middle class for the first time to get a major piece of the pie from the ground level up as to how the games are played on Wall Street. And like 50 said, we get rich or we die trying, guys.